The Power of Calm, Part 2. Have you ever wondered why, in the moments when everything seems collapse, some people remain calm, while others break? Where does this silent force come from that allows you to think clearly when the world screams chaos? And if calm were not the absence of noise, but an ability, trainable, that could completely transform your life? Today on Stoic Foundation, let's explore that almost forgotten invisible power that can become your greatest asset in a world desperate to react. The power of calm. Most people confuses calm with passivity, believe that to be calm is to feel no action, not to get involved. But the Stoics knew something radically different. Calm is internal action, is an active force that prepares the mind to see clearly, to act accurately, and to live with intention. In an unknown world where every minute we are exposed to notifications, external noise and internal noise, calm has become a superpower, not because she is weird, but because almost nobody trains her. Society rewards speed and impulsivity, noise, immediate responses, constant saturation. However, the calm, the real calm, is the one that allows your life to change direction. Marcus Aurelius knew it when he wrote in his private diary while commanding an empire at war. Seneca knew it when he tried to guide an impulsive emperor. Epictetus knew it and discovered that freedom is not in control of the world, but to control one's own response to it. Calm for the Stoics is not a temporary state, is a practice, a daily training, a mental muscle that, if you strengthen it, gives you the ability to survive, decide, and move forward even on the most difficult days. And that is what we are going to explore today: how to master that silent power that changes destinies, decisions, and lives. But first, we need to understand why it is so difficult to find calm in today's world and why it becomes indispensable. The internal storm. Why you like to stay calm. The modern mind lives saturated. So much information goes into our senses every day that in ancient times, a human being needed weeks to receive the equivalent. The consequence is simple. We live reactive. We react to opinions, to news, even to thoughts that are not even ours. And the more the mind reacts, the less calm can act. The Stoics understood it this way: not that life is short, is that we waste it on worries. Unnecessary. And in that sentence, there is a profound truth. Lack of calm does not come from the external world, but of the internal dialogue that we do not know how to control. You realize most of your concerns never be fulfilled. Most of the fear you feel is not based on facts, but in imaginations. Most of your pets are automatic impulses, no deliberate decisions. When there is no calmness, the mind controls you. When there is calm, you control the mind. That's the big change. The power of calm is not about eliminating chaos, but in building an internal refuge, strong enough so that chaos does not govern you. And that power, when trained, transforms. Calm, according to the Stoics, an active virtue. For the Stoics, the calm, which was called ataraxia or euthymia, was the ideal state to make the right decisions, was neither passive nor romantic, nor spiritual in a mystical sense, was tremendously practical. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by something external, pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your appreciation of it. And that's something you can withdraw at any time. That is, calm is the space between what happens and how you choose, interpret it, That space, that small interval, is where your power is born. There lies your freedom. That's how your life is defined. Because calm is not simply not reacting, is to create the space needed to choose the best reaction. When you dominate that space, you dominate your destiny. Why calmness makes you stronger? Calm strengthens, because it gives you three advantages that no impulsive emotion can give you. One, mental clarity. You can see what really matters and what is just noise. Two, emotional controls. You do not eliminate emotions but manage them. You are a pilot, not a passenger. Three, directions. Where the agitated minds, the calmed mind advances. Calm makes you firm and resistant. It doesn't make you cold, it makes you conscious. And when you are conscious, you are free. Calm is a tool to solve problems. Problems do not disappear because they want to, nor are they solved faster by panicking. In fact, every time you react impulsively, your ability to resolve decreases. Think of this. Have you ever made a bad decision? Being too angry, too anxious, or too desperate, of course. We have all done it. Intense emotion acts as a cloud that stands between you and reality, encourages you to act without assessing consequences. No strategy, and when the emotion passes, repentance appears. The Stoics had been observing this phenomenon for centuries, knew that the emotional drive generates clumsy, unstable, weak actions. And that calmness, on the other hand, allows the mind to see solutions where others only see a problem. That is why Epictetus said that what disturbs you, it's not what happens, but your opinion about what happens did not mean denying reality, but to leave room for its correct interpretation. When you find calm before acting, your mind becomes like a reflection of still water, reflects reality as it is without distortion. And so what seemed impossible before begins to take shape. What used to dominate you becomes manageable. What used to be surpassed by. Now you clearly analyze the power of calm is in the fact that it makes you the person that can solve the problem, even before solving it. How calm transforms your perception. The perception is the first barrier that controls your relationship with the world, and perception changes radically according to your internal state. Two people can face exactly the same event, but one collapses and the other stands firm. The difference is not in the event, but in the interpretation. Perception altered by fear. See threats where there are none. Perception dominated by rabies. See enemies where they do not exist. Perception full of anxiety sees dangers where there is only darkness. But the perception sustained by calm, go with affection, sees the essentials, see the real thing. Calm is like cleaning the lens with which you observe life. Reality does not change. Changes your ability to see it without illusions, without exaggeration, without distortions. And when you change your perception, you change your experience of the world. Calm as a practice, not as a don. You may think so. I'm not a calm person, but that is not an absolute truth. Just a story you've told yourself. No one is born calmly. Calmness is not genetics. It is not luck. It is practice. Is the result of thousands of small daily decisions. The decision not to react immediately. The decision to observe before judging. The decision to breathe before responding. The decision not to let emotion rule. Your next move, every time you choose calm, even for a second, you are training the mind. You are strengthening your character. You are becoming someone capable of sustaining itself even in storms. Marcus Aurelius was not calmed by nature, was emperor of Rome in the middle of the war, surrounded by betrayals, responsibility, and constant pressure, and still found calm. Because I practiced it every day. In his diary, he remembered himself again and again to return to the center, to serenity, back to reason. If he could do it, so could you. Calm is not a condition, is a choice, is the silent enemy. The restless mind. The restless mind is like a horse. You are tired. It makes you tired. It cheats you, convinces you that every thought is important, that every emotion must be attended to, that every impulse must be followed. But the mind, without discipline, becomes an internal enemy. When you are restless, you overthink, over-exaggerates, over-interpretes. The restless mind multiplies problems that do not exist and enlarges those that do. That is why the Stoics spoke of governing the mind. Because if you do not govern it, she will rule you. Calm is the horse's brake. Is the point where you say, I'm in charge here, is the reminder that not everything you think is true and not all you feel needs an immediate reaction. Calm turns the restless mind into a mind. Disciplined, a mind that does not allow itself to be hindered, that cannot be fooled, that does not fall into its own labyrinths. And that internal discipline is what sets you free. Calm as emotional strength. There is an idea wrong that says calm is weakness, that the strong emotion is more authentic and more real, more humane, but that's a myth. Intense emotion can be human, yes, but so is calm, and is often much more powerful. A calm person is not cold, he is strong, is conscious, is the owner of herself. Control your emotions does not mean repressing them, but navigating them without sinking. Means to feel them. Without them, you obey means recognize them without blindly obeying them. Calm is emotional force in its purest form, is to have the ability to be well, even when circumstances are not, is to stay the course when life tests you. That strength is not improvised, it is built. Calm and identity. Everything you do shapes who you are. Every reaction builds you up. Every answer defines you. That is why when you choose calm repeatedly, you start to become someone different. Your thoughts change. Your decisions change. Your character changes. You become firmer, more resistant, more wise. The Stoics believed that we are what we practice. If you practice anxiety, you become someone. If you practice anger, you become angry. But if you practice calmness, you become someone unperturbed, someone capable of holding on even when the world falls, someone who does not lose when the road gets dark, someone whose character stands firm in the midst of chaos. That is the true power of calm. Not only changes your days, change who you are. Calm in the midst of adversity. True calm is not demonstrated on a quiet day. True calm appears when everything gets complicated. When the plan fails, when the bad news comes in, when something breaks inside you or around you. It's easy to be at peace when nothing challenges you. But life is not built on easy days. The difficult days are the ones who forge you. And this is where the fundamental difference arises. The person who has cultivated calm does not need the world to be right. To be well, she is able to maintain balance even when the floor shakes. This does not mean that I do not feel pain, frustration, or means not to give up to them, I love you. That does not dissolve in emotion. That is not abandoned to despair. Think of a tree in the middle of a storm. The wind hits it, yes. Branches move, bend, twist. but the roots remain firm. That's how calm it is. Deep roots that support your branches. In the middle of the wind, life doesn't ask you if you want to face storms. We'll put them in front of you, but you decide whether you reach them prepared or helpless. And calm is precisely the preparation. Calm is an advantage in an impulsive world. We live in an era where everything accelerates, where people are proud to be busy, even if they do not advance, where productivity is confused with haste, where care is a scarce resource. In this context, calm becomes a competitive advantage. Why? Because while others react without thinking, you can analyze. While others despair, you can stay on course. While others scream, you can listen. While others break, you can hold on. Calmness gives you something most people do not have: mental space. And in that space, you can decide to feel better, act better. Sometimes the difference between a life, chaotic and a balanced life, it's a few seconds of calm before acting. Those seconds are pure power. Calm is not slowness, it is important. Clarifying it, calmness does not make you slow. It does not slow you down. It does not take away your energy. On the contrary, no. Because you reduce errors, allows you to advance further, because you don't waste emotional strength. Allows you to focus better, because you eliminate internal. Many confuse haste with progress, but the tired rush confuses, exhausts the calm. On the contrary, organizes the mind. Think of an archer. To launch an accurate arrow needs an instant of stillness. That moment of calm before releasing the foam is what determines the impact. That's how life works. Without calmness, your decisions are diverted. Your actions calmly hit the mark. The language of calm. Calm has a silent language. Is expressed in the way you walk, in the way you speak, in the way you look. Calm people do not have to prove anything, do not have to compete for attention, do not need to impose themselves, because calm projects something that noise cannot. Presence, when someone calm enters a room, is felt not by what he says, but by what he radiates. Calmness conveys security, conveys confidence, transmits internal domain, and all, even without knowing it, we seek that kind of energy because it is an energy that spreads. Calm does not only transform your life, those around you, the power of pause. Between stimulus and response, said Viktor Frankl, there is a space, and in that space is your power. That space is a tiny pause, sometimes imperceptible, but decisive. Is the pause you give before answering an impulsive message. Is the pause you take before entering an argument. Is the pause you breathe before you get angry, before judging, before reacting. Pause is the most painful act, but also the most powerful, because in that pause you decide who you are. You are the impulse, or you are the intention. The Stoics, without using the word pause, constantly talked about this. They said, suspends the trial, observes in the mirror, stay with yourself before acting. That's the pause. That is the origin of calm. Pause is the little paradise where everything can change. Calm is a discipline. Calm does not only dwell in the mind, is also expressed in the body. When you are agitated, the body reflects it. Breathing accelerates, breasts become tense. Chest closes, jaw squeezes. When you are calm, the body also expresses it. The air flows, paradise opens, the muscles relax, the gaze is softened. The body and mind are intertwined. The agitation of one provokes that of the other, and the calmness of one induces the calm of the other. That's why the Stoics said, straighten up your posture, and your mind will be straightened up with you. Calm can begin with a thought, but you can also start with a simple change in the body. Deep breathing, a small space between your thoughts, an instant of physical stillness. That small act can become at the beginning of a great transformation. Don't you dare leave now. If you are still here, it is because within you there is something that refuses to. And what comes next is for those who do not seek excuses, but results. Stay until the end. Feel every word. Because this moment is stopped to those who abandon, of those who are transformed. Your body, your mind, and your future are being forged right now. Decisions born from calm. The best decisions of your life, not taken in the midst of chaos, are taken when your mind is silent. When you are calm, you see clearer. You distinguish the essential from the unknown. You understand your priorities. You can listen to without interference. When you are agitated, however, the mind deceives you, whispers to you in fake emergencies, invited you to act without thinking, makes you believe that the solution lies in reacting faster, when in fact, the solution is to stop for a second. Marcus Aurelius knew it, that's why he wrote, "What disturbs the mind does not come from outside, but from the internal reaction. Withdraw that reaction and calm returns to you." Calmness not only helps you decide well, and a good decision made from calm can change the complete appearance of your life. The art of not absorbing the chaos of others. One of the skills, most powerful thing you can develop is to learn not to absorb the emotional tension of those around you. Most people do not succeed, are infected by the stress of others, of the anxiety of others, of the anger of others. But remember what others feel. It doesn't have to become what you feel. Calm is a filter, a mirror, an invisible limit. When someone screams, the automatic reaction is stopped. When someone speaks to you angry, the trend is to respond in the same way. When someone is distressed, your mind seeks to imitate this state. But you are not an antenna that should receive all signals. You can choose not to absorb them. The calm person has this ability, converts the negative energy it receives in internal. That ability makes you extremely strong. Because while the world changes moods every 5 minutes, you remain stable. The Stoics practice this deliberately. Don't let the temperament of others dictate your own. Do not carry what is not yours. Don't be disturbed, so it doesn't depend on you. Your calm begins when you define your inner border. Where the world ends and you start. Calm is not indifference. It is important to clarify. Calm is not a carelessness. It is not apathy. It is not a blind eye to what is happening. Stoic calm is not indifferent, it is conscious. Is to look at reality head-on without distortions. Is to feel without overflowing. Is to act without losing balance. The calm person cares about others, but it does not destroy itself. It is supportive, but she does not drown. She is empathetic, but it does not absorb every emotion as if it were its own. Calmness allows you to get involved in harmony. Help without losing you. Accompany without breaking you. The Stoics said that virtue does not consist of to withdraw from the world, but in acting correctly within it. And calmness gives you the clarity you need to act well in a silence. Where strength is born, deep calm does not come from outside, does not come from the perfect atmosphere or the right music, nor of a life without problems. Comes from within, comes from a silent place that we all have but that few visit a place where external voices do not reach, nor the trials, nor imaginary fears. A place where you can listen to yourself, where you can watch yourself, where you can find yourself. That inner silence is not empty, is pure energy. Orderly, stable is strength. The world fears silence, avoids it, covers it with noise, with constant movement. But you can learn to look for it. Because of the inner silence, three indispensable things are born: clarity, intention, and the management. Without silence, there is no calm. Without calm, there is no clarity. Without clarity, there is no purpose. And a life without purpose is scattered because of it. Find that inner silence is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Calm in the face of darkness. Perfection is one of the greatest sources of human anxiety. The mind hates not knowing how to control, not to foresee. One's immediate response is absolute security, advanced guarantees. But life doesn't work like that. It has never worked like this. Friendship is part of existence, and the sooner you accept it, the sooner you will find calm. The Stoics were not looking to predict the future, sought to prepare internally to face it. Whatever, and this preparation is called calm. Calm in the face of darkness. Born from three reminders. 1, you don't know what's coming, but you can handle it. 2, you don't control the future, but you control your response. 3, you have no guarantees, but you have character. Calm does not eliminate sadness, makes it supportable for, makes it manageable, makes it irrelevant. Because while others tremble at what will happen, you focus on who I'm going to be when I pass. That is the Stoic differential. That is its power. Calm as a form of leadership. Leadership does not begin when you lead others. Begins when you are able to address yourself. And the main tool of internal leadership is calm. People follow those who transmit stability, who does not break in crisis, to whom it maintains clarity. When others lose their way, a calm leader is not just an effective leader, is a reliable and secure Think leader. Of a captain in the middle of a storm. If you see him panic, you panic too. But if you see him holding his breath, thinking, acting, something in you also stabilizes. That is the strength of the example. That is the force of calm. Calm not only elevates you, but also elevate those who trust in you, elevates those who observe you, elevates those who walk with you. And that is why every person who wants to lead in his or her family wants to lead, in your community or simply in your own life, needs to learn to cultivate calm when calm becomes your identity. There comes a point where calm is no longer an effort, becomes your natural way of being in the world, becomes your identity. You no longer need to remember to breathe. You breathe, you no longer need to remember to pause. Pauses, you no longer need to remember not react. You simply do not react. Calm is no longer an exercise, and it becomes your base state, as if you had returned to your center, to the point where you really belong at that point. Your life changes because you do everything from clarity and not from confusion, from the intention and not from the impulse, from strength and not from fear. That calm identity is one of the highest achievements of human beings, because it implies that you master what is more difficult. Dominate yourself. The practical power of a calm mind. Calm is not just philosophy. It is practical, it is useful, it is concrete. A calm mind understands complex problems faster, negotiates better, think accurately. He is wrong, the less he suffers less. Learn more, connect better with others. Makes better decisions, live with more purpose. And where's less? Calm is emotional efficiency. Mental efficiency, spiritual efficiency, is a way to move further with less encouragement. When you are calm, you don't fight against yourself. All your energy is directed forward. That is the real power. That is the fuel that transforms an entire life. Calm in the face of emotional pain. Emotional pain is inevitable. The loss, the disappointment, the hero, the betrayal, the guilt, repentance, all, absolutely all. We go through moments that break inside us. The question is not whether you are going to suffer. The question is, how are you going to go through that suffering? Calmness does not eliminate pain, does not deny it, does not hide it. Calmness allows you to breathe it without overflowing, feel it without destroying you, live it without being trapped in it. When you are calm, you can see your pain far enough away not to become one with him. You can see it as something you experience, not as something that defines you. The Stoics said, "Pain is part of life, suffering is a choice." And this phrase, even though it lasts, is profoundly liberating because it reminds you that even if you can't avoid the blows of life, you can decide how you position yourself in front of them. Calm makes you an observer of your own pain. The pain is yes, but you are still there, firm, conscious, present. And that presence is what allows you to heal. When calm changes your relationship with fear, fear is a powerful emotion that is sometimes necessary, sometimes protective, but uncontrolled fear can paralyze you, blinding you, stop your growth. Calm does not eliminate fear, but transforms it. When you are calm, fear is no longer a reflection and becomes a messenger. Tells you where there is risk, where there is snow, where you need to prepare, but no longer controls you. The Stoics faced fear with a mixture of logic and serenity. They asked, what part of this fear is under my control? What part is just imagination? What can I do with what I have now? The calm way of relating to fear is what allows you to move forward, even when you are not sure. And here is something interesting. Fear loses strength when it sees that it cannot dominate you. The calmer you are, the less power fear has. Calm in conflicts. Conflicts are inevitable. Differences of opinion, unfulfilled expectations, misunderstandings, personality shocks. All this is part of human coexistence. The impulsive person comes into conflict as if it were a war. He wants to win and impose himself. Have the last word. The calm person enters the conflict as if it were an opportunity to understand, to solve, to improve, to learn, to create clarity of calm changes your intention. You do not seek to win. You seek to understand. You do not seek to destroy. You search to order. You are not looking to win. You want the solution to work for everyone. This mentality not only reduces conflicts, but makes you someone with enormous authority, emotional, because people hear those who are not screaming, trust those who are not altered, cooperate with those who are not trying to impose themselves. Calm is the most effective method to resolve any conflict. Not because I turn off the problems, but because it allows you to see them without the mist of emotion. Calm is a path to resilience. Resilience is not a talent, is a training, is the ability to resist after a fall, to get up after a loss, to regain your course after a crisis. And the basis of resilience is calmness. Calm is the firm ground from which you rise, is the breath that holds you. When you feel like you're going to break, is the thought that reminds you that even though it hurts today, will not be forever. A calm person does not prevent falls. Uses them, learns, adapts, is strengthened. While some break completely in the face of adversity, the calm person bends but does not break. And that internal flexibility, that ability to recompose, is one of the most powerful gifts of human character. Calm and creativity. Many people believe that creativity arises from chaos, but the greatest creativity arises from clarity. When your mind is agitated, you cannot connect ideas. You can't see possibilities. You can't imagine new paths. Calm opens up space, and where there is space, ideas flow. Is in the calm where unexpected solutions appear, invisible connections, fresh thoughts. Deeps. Many great thinkers had a common habit. Sought calm before creating. Aristotle walked. Seneca wrote, Marcus Aurelius reflected. Einstein was lost in silence. Da Vinci meditated without calling it meditation. Everyone understood that the mind only produces its best work when it is quiet. Calm is the incubator of creativity. Calm in the face of criticism. Criticism can destroy you if you are not prepared, can hurt your self-esteem, can make you doubt yourself, can stop your advance. But when you are calm, criticism loses its power. Calmness allows you to do something extraordinary. Separate the intention from the message, separate tone from content, separate emotion from information. From the calm, you can ask yourself, is there something useful here? This criticism is an attack or an opportunity to grow. It comes from someone who knows or of someone who judges without knowing. The calm person is not broken by a criticism, evaluates it, filters it, uses it if it works. And if it doesn't work, let it pass. That ability is immense freedom, because you are no longer hostage to what others think of you. Calm as internal freedom. Freedom is not what you want to do. True freedom is not to be a slave to your impulses, not to be a slave to your emotions, not to be a slave to your chaotic thoughts. Calm gives you back that freedom. You are free when you choose your answer. You are free when you decide your attitude. You are free when you keep your center even. When the world tries to get you out of it, calm is a form of personal sovereignty, an internal territory that no one can invade, a mental space where you own yourself. And when you own yourself, nothing external can govern you. Conclusions. Calm is not a luxury, is not a state reserved for those who have perfect lives, quiet days, or favorable circumstances. Calm is a tool, a discipline, a way of being in the world. And when you grow it, your life changes because you discover that calm does not come, that everything is under control. But to know that you are under control, that you don't need the outside to be tidy, so that your inner self is, that storms can still be there, but you no longer get lost in them. Calm brings you back to yourself, to your clarity. Your center allows you to see what others do not see. Decide what others do not decide. Remembering what others cannot invent. Allows you to act from intention and not from the reaction. Allows you to move forward without wearing yourself out. To love without losing you. Think without you. And above all, gives you freedom. The freedom not to be a slave of your impulses, of your fears, of the opinion of others, of external chaos. The freedom to be the owner of your decisions, of your character and your identity. The Stoics understood it centuries ago. Who dominates his mind, dominates his life. He who keeps calm keeps his course. He who knows himself sustains himself, and who holds. Move forward, so don't look for a world without noise. Look for. Become someone who can walk in the midst of noise without losing clarity. Don't look for a life without problems. Look for to develop a spirit capable of confronting them with firmness. Do not look for everything to be in order. Look for you to be in order. Because when you are well on the inside, the world ceases to have power over you. That is the essence of Stoicism. That is the gift of serenity. That's the power of calm, and that power is already inside you. You just need to start training him, and so on, while reflecting on these ideas. Remember that calm is not found, it is built, is molded with each pause, with every deep breath, with every decision not to react on impulse, is a road that is traveled day by day, step by step, moment by moment. Thank you for accompanying me in this gallery of power, of calm. If this message resonated with you, if I take you to see life from another angle, if it reminded you of the force that already dwells within you, I invite you to follow cultivating this philosophy with us. Because here in Stoic Foundation, we continue building together that character that nothing and no one can break. Hello, if you like this content, I invite you to subscribe to the channel to continue to deepen these teachings. Stoics, leave your like that helps us reach more people who need to listen to this message. And comment which part of the video resonated with you the most, or what topic would you like us to explore in an upcoming episode. Your participation not only supports the channel, also strengthens this growing community. Reflection and inner strength. Thanks to